Good morning everyone and welcome to another Cookery Club session. It is Tuesday and it's 10 a.m. and today we're going to learn how to make 15s. So 15s are the perfect no-bake tray-bake. So if you need something whizzed up in a short space of time, whether it's for a bake sale or church event, family event, these are definitely the way to go. They are also not only easy to use or easy to make, but they are adaptable. You can add to them, you can take away, you can change. So if you maybe don't fancy cherries, you could maybe add in some chocolate drops. You could add in whatever your heart desires. You can even smother them in white chocolate, and that's what makes the Diane tray bake that we would sometimes see in some of the coffee shops. So very versatile little bun, and I'm going to show you how to make it now. So why are they called 15s? Well, 15s are called 15s because we use 15 of the majority of the ingredients. That means you'll need 15 digestive biscuits, 15 marshmallows. Make sure you use the marshmallows that aren't covered in sugar. We want to have the ones that are nice and smooth. So some of the store-owned ones or the pink and whites are perfect for this. You'll also need some desiccated coconut, condensed milk, and your glacé cherries. I've gone for cherry halves. I'll be honest, picked them up by accident, but they're actually brilliant because it saves you getting your fingers all sticky trying to cut normal cherries up. So without further ado, let's get started. So in terms of apparatus, you will need a bowl, a wooden spoon, a knife, and possibly a tin opener. I'm also using the food processor today. If you don't have a food processor, not to worry, you can use a rolling pin and you can put your biscuits, break your biscuits up, and then use the rolling pin to mash them down or put them inside a plastic sealed bag and whack them with it on a work surface. Personally, I wouldn't waste a plastic bag because doing it in the bowl will work just as well. So what we're going to do is we will prepare our marshmallows and our cherries first because that gets the messiness out of the way. So you need to take 15 marshmallows. So let's get them out. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we'll keep the rest in the bag for another time. That's our 15 digestives. We'll leave those to the side. And take your knife and we're going to cut down through these marshmallows. So you can see what I'm doing in the other camera here. I'm pretty happy because at the minute both cameras are recording as they should be and neither of them have turned off, which seems to be a daily challenge when they just decide that they don't want to work. So just cut those marshmallows up. I'm halving them. Again, if you even want, you can, or maybe you don't have the big ones in the house but you have the small ones that you would put in hot chocolate, then go right ahead and use those. I'm just going to half these and that leaves them quite big because I'm going to make the 15s today reasonably big. But some people might want to make them smaller, or maybe if you're trying to make them up for an event and you want them to go a wee bit further, just make them smaller. So cut your cherries a bit smaller, cut your marshmallows a bit smaller, and you will be flying. So nearly there. And I will hold these up just so you get an idea of the size of what we're looking for. Excuse my purple hands. Had a run in with some purple food colouring today. So that is the marshmallows out of the way. My cherries are already cut. So again, they are just halved. We're going to need a good handful of those. Otherwise, it's 15 cherries, either halved or quartered. Now, the 15 is really a guide. You can adapt the recipe as you like, but I think it's easier just to double it if you need to. So when you start getting in and changing the recipe too much, you might find that it's a bit hard to bring it all together. So either half it or double it and work it that way, and trying to work it out to meet your own needs. So now comes the noisy bit. We're going to use the food processor. So in go our biscuits. I'm going to put all of the biscuits in together. That's those ready to go. So we've got a really nice round up mix there, and that is going to be the basis of our 15s. So always remember to turn your food processor off, especially if you're working with little ones, because they are just so dangerous. Same thing goes for this recipe. There's lots of things that kids can get involved with, whether one person wants to cut the marshmallows, somebody else wants to cut the cherries. There's lots of little jobs that people can do. Just be mindful with these, okay? You need to be careful with little fingers and big fingers with your knife. Always pay attention to what you're doing, because although it's a fast recipe and you may decide to do it in a rush, you don't want to have to take a break and go to A&E at the same time. So always be careful. So we'll push these over to the side, move this down. I'll take away the items that I am not using. We'll bring forward our bowl, and we're going to put our biscuit mix into our bowl. So I find that it's easier to tidy as you go, because there's not much, but baking and cooking doesn't have to be messy. Always keep cleaning as you go, and then when you finish, you can actually go and enjoy what you have made instead of just looking at this mess of pots and pans and bowls and everything else. So that's just a wee tip from me to you: tidy as you go and enjoy it when it's done. So we've got our breadcrumbs. Next, we're just going to add in our marshmallows. Don't worry if they all stick together. Even if they do stick together, whenever you start to mix it up, it'll all separate anyway, so not to worry. In they go. And when we get them in, take your wooden spoon, just gently fold it up, get the breadcrumbs over all the pieces, and that will also stop them from sticking together. So give that a good little stir. Then next, we're going to add in our cherries. Again, try and separate them out, or else you'll end up with them all clumped together, and these really will clump together. So I'd put a few in, give it a little bit of a stir, add some more, and pop those in and bring it all together. Now, at this stage, I like to add a little bit of coconut into the mixture. I think it adds something to it. This is not essential because we will be coating the whole outside of the 15 as well. I just like to add it in. It's just personal preference and the flavour. You don't need to add anything else at this point. You might need to give your hands a little bit of a wipe because it is very sticky. And I'll just incorporate the coconut in. and we're ready for our condensed milk. So there's lots of types of condensed milk out there. There's also very sneakily evaporated milk right beside it, so always make sure that you pick up the right one. You'll also be able to find, if you are watching your calories, although these may not be the most waistline friendly tray bake out there, you will find that there are lighter versions of condensed milk. So, you know, there's ways and means of making these a little bit healthier. You can buy the lighter digestive biscuits, you can buy the lighter condensed milk, and that will already help save you some calories. So little steps that you can actively take if you are watching your waistline. So what we're going to do is add in a little bit, and we are going to stir and bring this together. So although I have a large jar here, or a large can, although a small one will do the job, just be mindful as you add it in. A little bit too much and you will be having to blitz up more digestive biscuits to bring it all together. So you can see this is starting to come together. And before you add any more, make sure that you've tried to get as much from the bottom of the bowl. So that's all the way down here. Try and scrape it up. And how we want this to look is a fairly sticky mix. So we're almost there. There you go. So it should easily start to come away from the side of the bowl. Also the bottom of the bowl should be relatively clean. So you can see here, it starts to form its own mass. I'm going to add just a little bit more. At this point, you'll probably have used all of your tin. And that's okay. A little bit more coconut in now, just because mine is a little tiny bit sticky. And when we have it like that, we're going to get out our baking paper. So you will need your roll, and make sure you take a pretty big piece, because what we're going to do is fold it in on itself. So I will use my can, my glacé cherries, just to hold it in place. And the next thing we are going to do, which I'll just turn this around a little bit, is bring this out onto the baking paper. So don't worry if it's super sticky, that's okay. We can deal with that. So all over the outside, we're going to sprinkle on our desiccated coconut right over the outside. Now don't worry, we're not leaving it like this. Obviously you could if you really wanted. It just wouldn't be the prettiest looking tray bake. So what we're going to do is just make sure that you've got enough coconut down either side. And out of the whole thing, the coconut is probably the messiest bit. But take both sides and just lift it up. And if you can, just start to squeeze it down. Then fold it over and flatten the top. Now, this is looking a bit more like what we are aiming for, but I would like it just to be a little bit more cylindrical. So I will start to roll it over on itself, and that allows me just to elongate it. And then I will add a little bit more coconut down the side. And then I will roll it back in itself. And again, just stretch it out. And then you don't need to unwrap it again. All you need to do is start to twist it up nicely into a sausage shape. Twist the ends in. So these are now ready to go into the fridge. They can go in and they will be absolutely fine in there for a couple of hours, and they will come out and they'll be fairly hard, but that will be exactly how we want them to be, just whenever everything solidifies. The great thing about 15s is that you can also keep them in the refrigerator in a Tupperware box, if they last that long, of course. But just bear in mind, if you are making them for an occasion or they are needed with fairly short notice, that you will need that chill time, so always bear that in mind. Super quick to make and ready to go in the fridge. Join me again in a couple of seconds when I bring them back out of the fridge. So here we go, they're out of the freezer. You can tell that they're a lot more solid now. I'm going to get them cut up, portioned, and then I'm going to have one with a nice cup of tea. So start off by cutting the ends off. They can be your share for later, but it just keeps those pieces nice and neat at the end. I've just gone straight through a marshmallow. And then what you're going to want to do is, obviously these are going to make fairly small 15s, so we're going to just put a little guide just along so as we can see where we're going to cut. And I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 out of it, because I don't think that's really going to be one at the end. Move that over so as you can see how we're going to sort them out. They're a bit sticky on the inside where they've been obviously wrapped up. So just take the excess coconut that's there and pat it in, and that'll make your 15 a bit more secure. And then of course just add these onto your plate. Hopefully this will have been really useful for you. Like most of our recipes, they don't include too many ingredients and are very cost effective. These ones are particularly good because they really are the sort of treat that anybody can have, and you can put your own little style to it. You can add chocolate, you could add nuts, you can add whatever you want. So enjoy making your 15s. Add this recipe to your collection because it is something that you'll be able to make time and time again. And join us next Tuesday for another Cookery Club.